Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Ladd, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast. This is going to be a good one. We nearly recorded a whole podcast without pressing record because we've just been chatting before we started. But we thought Pete was very professional. We said, hang on a minute, let's start recording because this is good content and we might as well record. Otherwise, we'll all have to say it just again anyway. So anyway, we are episode 183. We have a very special guest with us today. A very special female guest who I'll introduce you to in a minute. But first of all, I'll catch up with our regular host. In fact, what I want to say before I even go to Pete today is I've been dragging my heels a bit with this review kind of competition thing that I said about, that we were going to give away some Health Oddity merch for people who leave reviews. And I said that each month or every couple of weeks, we'll pick a review at random, or not at random, but pick a review, read it out on the podcast and give some merch to someone. So, and I've not sorted all the finer points out, but I'm just going to say today that whatever platform you're listening on or watching on, if you do have the potential to leave a review on there, please do it. And on the next podcast, if anyone has left a review, we will read it and we will assign some merchandise as a prize. So we'll work out the finer points as we go, and we'll work out how we see if we've got reviews as well. So we just say that out the gate, out the gate, as it were. Please do leave reviews, and we'll be giving away some UR hoodies, t-shirts, that sort of thing. If you do that. Anyway, wanted to get that out of the way. Pete, how are you doing?
Well, I was doing very well, but it sounds like I'm going to have some work to do, doesn't it? Thanks.
Oh no, well, I don't know if you'll suddenly have hundreds of reviews to sift through, but
well, what I'm looking forward to is getting another T-shirt because I'll leave one, and I might be the only one. So I'm going to be next week's winner, right?
I mean, I'll be taking a T-shirt too.
You got to write a review. You got to write a review. Yeah, but I think we've just got to check, haven't we, which platforms you can do reviews on, and then we'll look and we'll see if we've got reviews somehow, Pete, won't we? We'll work it out.
Yes, we will. We will.
I'll tell you what, I'll sort out sending the T-shirts out and stuff. So I'll do that side of it.
What do you mean? You've got a drop ship thing, haven't you?
I know, but I've still got to order them.
You just got to get a design done and people just order it.
Still got to order them and pay for it.
You do that anyway.
We'll sort it out.
Honestly, I feel like a skivvy in this. Oh, dear me.
You guys sound just like me and my business partner as well.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought, because I did think I was listening to the podcast and I listened to it back every single week, and a few times I've said, I'm going to sort out this review thing. And I thought, I'm not going to keep saying it. We'll just do it. And
so now you thought you'd put it on me?
Well, no, it's on both of us. We'll both share the load. Anyway, Pete.
Anyway,
how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm not going to say too much because, otherwise, we've got the way it went before we started recording. We're going to be on for hours, so let's just get going, shall we?
We will just say though that we've just signed up for Belfast, haven't we, at the start of April with Paul McElroy. I think it's the 6th and the 7th of April in Belfast with Paul McElroy, who is coming on the podcast in 2 weeks' time. And that is the week before Dan, John, and Tim Anderson are over with us as well. So we've got a busy March and April, everything else. Yeah.
And it's just after Easter as well.
And it's just after Easter. Good. Fantastic. But your training is going very well. I'm seeing you're pressing huge weights overhead for many reps.
I am, and it feels great. And I've been promised that it'll get even better when I see Paul in person. So
excellent.
That'll be good.
When he lays his magic hands upon you.
Yes. When he just does this around me, and then all of a sudden the 48 will be going up, no problem.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be fantastic.
I hope so. Anyway,
good. And we are joined today all the way from Buckinghamshire in the UK by Hannah Camden. How are you doing, Hannah?
Hello, good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Now, Hannah is someone I've been connected to, aware of for a long time. I think we first met actually at the Mr. Mace Man event at Unique Results. Probably that's got to be two or 3 years ago now,
I
maybe.
reckon it's got to be about 3 years ago now. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, maybe three. Yeah, maybe 3 years ago. And Hannah runs her own business, Fitworks Training, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And we have many mutual friends, including former guests on the show, Ben Causa. Little shout out to Ben,
There
Vicky
it is.
Causa. Yeah, there's a shout out.
Very
Matt Shaw, who's been on, and also Sean from Raw Form Functional Fit as well. He's not been on the podcast before, but we know Sean as well quite well. So and we've just been talking just before coming on air about maces and kettlebells and kettlebell sport and lots of other things. So we're going to kind of have loads to talk about. But I suppose first of all, Hannah, for the listeners and for us, maybe if you can just talk to us a little bit about your background, your background in training, in sport, in your career, if you've always been into fitness and always been working in this, or if it's something you came to later, and kind of your business, all of that kind of thing. And we'll kind of dip in and ask questions as we go, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Excellent.
one of those scary things, isn't it? Where like when you get asked that question, that number keeps getting bigger. Like I've now been in the industry for, oh my God, 20 odd years. And you're like, oh my gosh, blimey, like where has the time gone? But yeah, I've always been in the industry. Really. I was starting out in gyms and then working my way up, and then having a few like middle breaks of having some children along the way. But the whole journey of it has been unbelievable, a learning curve, and really kind of getting to know my true roots basically as well. So I started, like I said, in gyms, and then kind of I went traveling for a little bit as well. That was great, but I was very young at that point, so I think I drunk my way around most of Australia at that point. But which good. And then after I had my second child, I kind of I went into kind of running my own business. And then I went into a franchise as well, and kind of built up an outdoor franchise business, which was magical. I loved, loads of fun. And then an opportunity like of a studio came up. So I said about kind of bringing this outdoor business into this studio space. So created that, and that actually brought me into the business. So I became a director of that business as well, which was fab. It was a tiny little studio corridor, like 17 by 3, but it worked. It was magic. It was brilliant. It was a great little like community space, basically. So much of a smaller version of what I've got now. And then from there, this business that I was in was a franchise. So I then helped build a franchise business within this business, and we got to 27 franchises around the country, and it was absolutely brilliant. I loved going up and down the country, training trainers, meeting new trainers, going to different events, different universities to speak to trainers going through their course. Giving them the opportunities of potentially coming into what it's like stepping out of a course and then going into the big wide world of personal training. So that built up, and that was brilliant. I then kind of opened up from the studio. Me and my business partner back then decided to open up a bigger gym. We were like, should we do it? And you got to take those risks from life, haven't you? You got to think, oh my God, do we sit here comfortably, or do we go on and can we make it work? And yeah, so we opened a gym in High Wycombe, and it was brilliant. And then kind of over that period of time, it was, well, like you guys, surely I know you can imagine, that it's a lot of hard work of every job, isn't it? You got to do the marketing, and you got to do the accounts, and you got to do a bit of everything, as well as training people and doing the classes.
And trying to keep yourself fit at the same time.
And yeah, keep yourself fit, and have a family as well. Remember to be back for them. But luckily, I've worked out I'm a busy kind of person, and I like to be busy. So yeah, and then we kind of around that gym, but I became very unwell. So when we worked closer together, running a gym, it became quite difficult. And with me, life is always about going with the flow. And throughout this couple of years, I was kind of changing, or trying to be someone that wasn't truly authentically me. So I became really poorly, actually. I mean, this would probably be another podcast, because this is where we could have talked for hours, right? But I became very poorly, and ended up kind of taking an overdose. It got to that point. So I had to say to myself, what am I doing? This is bricks and mortar. I need to look after myself, not get so run down. So I
Can we
out.
I mean, if it's not too much, Hannah, can we touch on this a little bit? I mean,
Yeah,
or
of
would you
course.
rather not? Because
No.
this is something that, and this is, we have these conversations, you never know where they're going to go. And we've done this a number of times. And what you're talking about there, I think we have a lot of people who listen who are end users and want to get fit and use gyms. But we also have a lot of people who listen, who will run their own businesses, or their own gym or whatever. But we've also got a lot of people, and this is everyone really, that whatever they're doing in life, whether they're running their own business, or whether they're a manager, or whether they're just struggling with running a home and a family, or whatever it is, I think this is kind of like a universal thing, which I'd rather, maybe spend a little bit of time talking about, if that's
Yeah.
okay with you, if it's not too uncomfortable.
I'm more than happy to talk about it. I'm a very open book, and my children are older. They're 17 and 15 now, and actually he's nearly 18, is he? Anyway, they're around that age. And yeah, they're about that. They're older now.
They're about
yeah, they're definitely taller than me now. Yeah. So I'm more than happy. And in fact, when I believe you go through everything for a reason, do you know what I mean? And and my husband always laughs at me, because when I was in the hospital, and I'm always, no one knew how poorly I got. I hid it so well. So up until the day that I took the overdose, no one knew how poorly I was, because my savior was the people of the gym, my members and my clients that came in. I was barely at home. It was like, there was a lot of boundaries that needed working on, and a lot of things that I adapt now in life very differently. Yeah, so no one knew. It was all a surprise to everyone when I had to wake my husband up in the middle of the night and be like, I've taken an overdose. So he was like, what? Where did that come from? But luckily I was all right. But the thing is, though, I was in the hospital, and I remember seeing a lady across from me, and I said to Rich, I was like, Rich, my husband, I was like, I just want to go and help her, because she looked really sad and down. He just looked at me and he went, oh my God, Hannah, like literally help yourself first, because it's really important to me. That's what I love doing. I love to bring, I do a lot of confidence coaching and stuff like that now. But yeah, so it can be very hidden. And like you said before, it doesn't have to be about partners. It can be friendship, it can be business, it could be over busy. It's just about being busy in the head, right? But afterwards I went and I did some public speaking and about it, and then it brought up, it was really lovely for some people to open up. And then I went into some schools, and I spoke to a few schools, and again a few of the girls opened up to things, admitting to things that wasn't quite sitting right with them. So I'm very happy to talk about and go through anything to do with
But
mental.
I think that probably as well, that experience and living through it and have gone through that, that's going to make you so much of it. That's why you see a lot of kind of coaches nowadays who are maybe in their late teens and their early 20s, and they're just kind of qualified and they're out and, they're influencing on social media and everything's, but to have gone through something like that yourself, then when you start coaching, other people, I think it makes you so much more of a better coach, doesn't it? And having empathy and having understanding and having experience and being able to talk through experience.
I think the root,
yeah.
absolutely 100%. And I love mentoring. I work with a lot of personal trainers, like kind of on building up a business. And but number one is always looking after yourself and being your true authentic self. When I came out of the business before, I honestly thought that was, when I was in it, I honestly thought that was me forever. I thought it was, I couldn't see any other way when I was in it, which probably was one of the hardest things to come out of it, because I thought, God, what am I going to do? But I lost who I was and truly authentically was. And suppose I was kind of going down a route that wasn't really aligning with me. And
in what way was that kind of, did you feel that was just because the way the business was going, or the person you were having to become to build the business and to keep the business going, or what
I suppose myself and my business partner kind of went in two different directions. And everyone would always be, we have the ultimate say, right, in who we work with, but it didn't actually align what we truly both believed in, and communication broke down, and it just was not working. If I look back at the place that I once worked at now, it's completely different to what I have here in Beaconsfield and built with actually is when I came out after about a year, I went into business with one of the girls who was a franchise as well. And so we worked together. So I've known Pippa, it was Pippa Lance. I've known her for years, and we've worked together, but we were both franchises of the company. And now we're actually working together. And what I have here in Beaconsfield now as Fitworks Training was exactly once what I had over in High Wycombe. But it was very, very difficult. And because I stepped away from that business, came away from that business, and so I could keep my life basically. With going back to the mental health side, hopefully this isn't, might have to put a trigger warning on this, but there's one thing, right, is when I was poorly for about 6 months, I was really poorly when no one knew anything, and I always planned. I don't know, if anyone has felt depressed, so having depression and just being snowed under and having horrible suicidal thoughts, I had always planned to do it a very different way, and hang myself, right? I'm sorry if this is really brutal, but I am forever, and I don't know how to get the point across to people who are feeling low or suicidal. It is not what you truly want, because there was one evening when I thought, right, this is it. And you don't think about anyone else. It's such a selfish and sad way to live, really. But when you're in it, yeah. And I often think, if I was to have done it any other way, I wouldn't be here. And I have lived the best years of my life, and I am now. Like, I am, every single day, I am grateful and thankful to have the people around me. I have learned a lot, and that's through learning about myself. It hasn't been easy, but it's learning about those little life habits. So, I have everyone sees me as you know, oh, Hannah's doing crazy stuff again. She's swinging her mace around, or like, what even is a mace? A lot of people say, and like cold water immersion. And I love getting in cold water. I will do lots of meditation, breath work. You know, running a business is difficult, as we've talked about, and I have to do my breath work and meditation. I mean, I had so much on this morning. I said to the girls here, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to need to have 5 minutes of meditation before I come on and talk to you guys. But yeah, you have to look after number one. And, you know, that can relate to family situations, business situations, like I said before, anything. But if I was to have done it the way I had planned, I wouldn't have been able to live the most incredible years that I have done since. And and it takes those little moments. So if anyone, you know, does feel like this is what they feel they need, it's in that moment you need to distract yourself, speak to someone, talk to someone, get out there, just change the environment you're in for a moment, and that can make the biggest difference. And I've always wondered, how am I going to how can I ever put this point across? But yeah, I'm never afraid to talk about it now, because if I could talk to someone, and if anyone was at that point or needed to talk to me, I would always be there, and I'm sure so many people would be too.
I've got a couple of questions on this, because yeah, this just fired off as you were talking there, because I mean there's a lot there. But you said earlier that you're a busy person. You've realized you're a busy person, you like being a busy person.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between being a busy person and just being busy and stressed, right? That's the first
100%.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
Another question, and you don't have to answer this if I mean, you can just say yes or no, but like, did it affect you physically as well? This is what I want, because obviously you're stressed. You can have mental health problems with that, but then obviously there's a physical aspect to that as well, of like, you know, tiredness, drain, stress, you know, prickly skin, just sweating, kind of fidgety, all of those sorts of things. And possibly, you know, kind of like, because when you said poorly, immediately I think of poorly as a physical thing for some reason, right? But that's because like that's what my parents used to say when you're a kid. Oh, you're a bit poorly because you had a dicky tummy or something like that. So that's the first thing. Did it affect you physically as well? Because this is like what I'm trying to get here is, how do people? Because it's going to be hard to recognize in other people as well, right? Because they can hide it so well, like you've just said. So how do people recognize it in themselves? That's the thing. So how do you know now that you're a busy person and it's okay, rather than being a busy person who's stressed and going to end up back where you were again? Do you know what I mean?
It is important that you give yourself the time. So there is a huge difference from tiredness because you've worked out, and you know, and you've you know, you've been, you know, lots of good things going on, but yeah, there's a huge difference between you're tired from a busy day and you're mentally tired. When you're mentally stressed and you're mentally tired, your brain is just a complete fog. I got to the point where I couldn't string a sentence together sometimes, or you know, I would say my brain is zinging. Like I couldn't make sense of some things. Like, I mean, and it was awful. My confidence was just, I would always feel like a burden on someone and say sorry all the time, rather than be able to stand tall. And you know, you've really got to find that confidence in yourself. But there's no other stress like it. It's so tiring, and you just burn out. You absolutely burn out. I just remember being exhausted all the time, you know. And yeah, so there is a massive difference between, you know, being busy and wrong busy. You know, now for instance, I am, my energy, I like to feel, I could go off, and like, I don't know whether you guys do a lot of like Reiki and relaxation stuff as well. So I don't know guys, if you walk into a room and you can feel, I don't know whether you can feel people's energy sometimes, right? And you're like, oh my God, there's such a vibe. And like the energy, this is one thing that's everyone says about walking into this building, right? Is they always say, they walk in here and everyone has always said, my God, the energy is amazing in here. Like, and that's what's important. And that you also get those people where they can like
Fun
somehow
sponges.
yeah, you're just like, oh my God, like I can feel everything.
Yeah.
And this is how how I am with my clients and when I work with people. So there's another side of me, like I've gone through all my Reiki masters as well. But this is one thing that is a real stickler in my brain, right? I'm like, I train people. Okay, so you come and give them their training sessions and stuff. But to me, it's much more than that. You've got to look at their sleep and you time, meditation time, relaxation time, getting the training time, getting in the food, getting in the hydration. All of that becomes a package, right? And it's really important. If you're physically knackered and stressed, it's gonna have a knock-on effect to absolutely every one of them. You wouldn't be able to sleep because your brain is going to be chatting so much. But I also say to people, so people are like, I want to get fit. They'll come in and I want to get fit. I want to get physically fit. And I'll be like, right, okay. That's why it's so important to go through the all of those questions about their sleep and their how their stress levels, because you can't, if you're exhausted, you're going to end up injuring yourself if you put yourself under more stress and stuff. So it is acknowledging if you can stop, if you can just take time out, and it might just be like, stepping outside for 5 minutes and just being able to like open up your listening senses and hear the birds or hear world go around. Living in the present moment is so important.
I think
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I've just written a few notes down because I think the being busy thing as well is there's a difference, like you say, with being busy and enjoying being busy and being occupied. But then there's also potentially the being busy to distract yourself from the problems that are there, and you don't want to. We talked about this, Pete, didn't we, before when I said I went away to Norfolk for a weekend without, and you just go on your own. You just want to sit and read a book and just sit and think and have time to yourself. But a lot of people are very uncomfortable having that, just sitting and being quiet or going out for a walk maybe without their mobile phone, just to allow them to think, because people don't really want to be in that position where they're just left with their own thoughts. So I think some people are busy just because they want to just distract themselves and they don't want to ever stop, because if they stop they might actually not like what they hear. But one of the things I was going to say, it's amazing. I had no idea what that we were going to go talk about this today, but we've had, the other thing I suppose is how, and I remember just people off the top of my head that we've spoke to: Simon Marion, Mac McLaren, Mark Tonner, yourself, all people who have been, suicide survivors, people who have tried at some stage to do that and have not done it. Are you just thinking yourself, Pete, of anyone else?
I was just trying to think of anyone else, but
guess that. So it's something that is, it's good to talk about, and it is. And the other thing that if someone were just to look at your social media, for example, or anyone's, you just look and you just think, God, that person looks like they've got it all together. They've got no problems. They're exercising, they're fit. I want to be like them, And I think that's why I just was so happy I wanted to ask, and I'm happy that we've had this conversation, because it is the ultimate kind of authenticity of being open and being vulnerable and discussing this stuff, because so many people think, oh, no one has thoughts like this, it's only me who has thoughts like this. And
because when you're
talking about it,
when you are in that place of like depression and low, it is very, you can't really see, and you do feel like you're a burden on everyone, and you do feel quite alone and stuff. But you're absolutely not. It's it's about getting yourself outside of that, and it's not easy, but you will get there. It will pass. Like every moment passes, even the fun, amazing, brilliant, best times, they pass, their memories. But also, one of my biggest things is like, now your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So connection, having those connection with those people. Now we live in a world where there's some awful people, and you know what, you can only control within what's within your world, and these people might come in, but then you know to keep them, okay, hands distant, like you can keep them away, like that everyone said, oh, used to say to me, right, Hannah, oh Hannah, you're too nice, oh Hannah, you're too forgiving, or you're too what. So I was like, oh God, okay, do I need to be mean, do I need, and it was, I'm not, it's not me. Okay, so I'm just like, no, that's authentically not who I am. And so when you try and be someone that you're not, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's funny.
Mm.
I was going to say it's funny because I wrote down when you said earlier about energy, because we're humans and everything, but we are just we're vibrations, right? We're just loads of atoms vibrating around on each other, and that's what we are.
Yeah.
So the energy in a room becomes that. You project it outwards, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anyone believes this or not, but this is what I like. When I look into this sort of stuff, and when I think of it for myself, and then so like doing this podcast, I talked to my girlfriend Sean about it, and whenever we're talking to anybody about it, I mentioned it to a couple of people on the walks that I do and stuff like that, saying I do a podcast because they might know people who want to come on or whatever. And she's like, oh, he loves doing it. It's great. And we do this every hour on a Thursday, and it's fantastic. And then we're going to help out. We're going to be helping out with the disabled strongman stuff again, and all of this sort of stuff. And when we did that last year, I got back from that, and Sean was like, you need to do more of this stuff because your energy goes up, and we don't get paid for it or anything like that. But it was like, she's like, you're just a nice person to be around when that happens, and you'd rather be with someone like that than someone who earns loads of money and is stressed or whatever, you know what I mean, comes home like burnt out every day, like you were saying. So
Yeah.
I think
My God.
the whole energy thing, like if you've got to play, I mean, as soon as you came on this podcast, before we started recording, it was just like bang, 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 bang. It was like, wow, this is amazing. You could feel it. You could really feel it. So that is fantastic. So if your place is like that as well, it's I love that.
Yeah, it's really lovely. It's just a place where I just want people to be able to come and enjoy I often ask, like, what do you enjoy about Fitworks and stuff, and we can have a class, right? So once a month here, I've decided, right, I want to have a live DJ, and it's called Open House Workout. So we're in this I love it. It's an incredible building, right? Where you come in and it's really open space, and in fact it's an old St. John's ambulance building, right? So you can imagine high ceilings. When I walked in here, because when I left the gym before that I was like, okay, get myself better, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I was at that point, and I was like, oh, I don't know, what do I need to change my life? I was so pickled up here. I just took time out for myself. I was very fortunate and lucky to have the most amazing family around me who supported me and helped me. But yeah, I then kind of got about 2 years later, and I was like, okay, I'm really missing having a building now. I really do miss, because I loved building the outdoor business, but I was like, oh, I really want to have a building back now. So then that came back into my vision, and then it was taking way longer than I thought. I was like, hey, this is ridiculous. So I was meant to get a building built on the edge of the rugby club that we were at, but that fell through. And then I was like, oh my God, like, is it ever gonna happen? But then I do a lot of energy work on myself, and I go, no, go with the flow, open my eyes up to more. And this place came around, right? And Pippa messaged me going, oh look, there's some storage units we can have. And then she messaged me again, and she went, oh no, it's for the whole building. So then literally the next day we went to see it, and then it just went with the flow, and it just like was flowing beautifully, and then it just happened. And this open house workout that I'm doing once a month, every Friday, 7 till like kind of 8. I've done one so far. I've got my mate with his DJ on, opened up all the rooms. So I've got the kind of spin room upstairs. I've opened up the studio room, and then the main hall area. So it's one big house. Fill it with lights and a DJ. And then after the last session, everyone was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And they were like, right, next time, can we have pizza and wine afterwards? I was like, yes, we can. Like, we are a lifestyle business. We absolutely can do that. So, and then so now it's just evolving, and I'm just going with the flow, listening to what they want. But in this room, right, we have strongman, because I do a lot of, at the rugby club, I've kind of have some strongman Atlas stones and yoke and everything like that, because kind of went to Redbeard and enjoyed that, and I had a big strongman area with the last gym that I owned as well, so love all of that side too.
You should start doing all-nighters as well. There's an idea for you.
Oh God, don't! There's so
if any
much.
of Hannah's clients are listening, just pressure her for an all-nighter, and she'll have to do it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Get the local council right, like on your arse, like stop doing that, turn the noise, to get noise violations and all that going. Be great.
I know, right? But yeah, I set my boundaries now.
So Hannah, when you first, so I take it, I mean, I'd imagine if you've been doing this for 20 years or 20 plus years, the first gyms that you worked at would have been very conventional, very kind of commercial, very corporate, very, you know, cardio machines.
It was your council run gym.
Yeah. So that's where you kind of started your career and your life in this kind of thing. And then when you ran this franchise, this indoor franchise that you took on, what did that look like, and how does that now change to what you do now? I mean, I'm talking about, you know, the physical training that you do and the equipment you use and stuff. Have you, like you said, you didn't feel you were being very authentic to yourself there? And I know that now you've moved into things like, you know, the maces, the kettlebells, now the kettlebell sport. You mentioned strongman, that kind of thing. Is this more authentically you, the way that you're now? Or
yeah, so that's actually what my business was before. It's everything I have now. I suppose it was maybe more to do with the people, where it kind of took me off track. No, so yeah, so we've got, it's a big rig and kettlebells and mace and everything like that. That's what I love. And do you know what, I look back on those 10 years of my previous business with no regret, right? I have no regret, because I learned such a lot. When I started going into all of this kind of the world, like of functional training, kettlebells and ropes and everything like that, that was back when I after I had Lily and I came into the franchise. With me, I'm never afraid to ask, right? I'm never afraid to go, do you know what, if I see something that interests me, I'm like, let's have a look. So I started doing that. That's where it was. It was in High Wycombe Park, and I saw this guy training someone with this massive like pickup truck, and I was like, oh, that looks really fun. It's kind of knowing I was getting back into business after having babies, and I just, you know, took the number down and actually kind of and made the phone call. I suppose actually looking back now, making phone calls is to random people who I don't know have been quite large steps for me, because that's what that was. I saw him training, and then I learned such a lot throughout those 10 years, unbelievable amount for me really to be able to be doing what I'm doing now. So yeah, so I even when I got into kettlebells, that was a phone call too. So it was the year before, so about a year and a half ago, I was like, I wanted to get my teeth stuck into something. So I was running the outdoor business, because this has only been open since August last year. So I wanted to get myself into something. I was like, right, I don't really want to go into CrossFit competitions, because I'll bump into some people who I just didn't want to bump into. And so then through Val, who lives in France, so over lockdown, I connected with a lot of people in different countries who did mace and kettlebells, and we did some like kind of online stuff together. So I just spoke to Val, and I was like, Val, where are you? Because I saw her at a kettlebell competition, and I like kettlebells a lot. And I was like, who's the guy in the England top? And she then got his contact number for me. I randomly ring Johnny up and say, I've just got your number really randomly somehow, and I really want to be able to do what you're doing, or look at what is this whole world of kettlebells. And then and that's how I got into the world of kettlebell sport. And now we actually work together, building that team of kettlebells.
Is it
so the
Is it
garage.
Jonathan? Is it Jonathan Skinner? Is that?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've got to get him on at some stage because like I say, we had Ollie Mell on before, and I know they
I
do.
don't know who John. Who I don't know who. I might know the name. I don't know who. I can't picture him.
He's the guy who does ridiculously heavy jerks and stuff. Is it
Unbelievable. So I think his next one, he's coming down, and he was like, "Oh, I just got a voice note from him going, oh, Hannah, have you got 2 24s? I might practice my two doubles 24s this weekend." But yeah, otherwise he's doing like 40-kilo jerk. It's unreal.
I'll look him up and follow him.
Yeah,
I'm sure he was at the. He would have been at Northampton when we went there to watch.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there, though, wasn't there?
I know there was a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people.
Are you gonna be there next time in March?
Probably, yes. Yeah, like I say, Lauren, who you know as well, just got back from Jonathan Skinner. What on Instagram? He's something like Rockstar Dad. Rockstar Dad UK.
Oh, I do know who that is.
Yeah.
Bloke lifting big weights. Yeah,
so international kettlebell athlete, 5 times world champion, singer, and coffee enthusiast.
So So basically, we've gone into business together doing the Garage Fitworks project, and have built an online business together, like training, coaching kettlebell sport. So he's coming down this weekend where I'm hosting the first kettlebell and mace half marathon sets. Because once I'd done a year, so I did a year of kettlebells, got into it, and turned out I was okay at it, and then went to lift with England in Hungary, and then I've loved it ever since, and they've got a few competitions lined up for this year, but I've also now, like last year we did it, I was kind of doing it solely on my own, and now we've got a team of about 12 of us, hopefully heading to these different competitions, which is really exciting because I suddenly thought about it the other day, and I suppose just like you go and see Lauren at these competitions, I'm now going to be, I'm lifting myself, and then I'm going to be watching my team lift, which is going to be so exciting.
Yeah, because we've had Finn Bartulan on as well. Do you know Finn? Yeah. So Yeah, I'm sure you know from his team Virtue in Ireland. So we had Finbar on. So when we've been to Northampton and watch, you've got Finn there who competes himself, and then he's maybe got another 6 or 8 guys and girls, who are competing in his team. So it's fantastic. Well, it really, it's great. It's great.
We want to keep, when we go international, well, we want to keep the belt. I want to be the country that keeps the belt. So we're getting more and more people lifting now, which means, I mean, God, they're so inspirational. I absolutely love it. Everyone's from different clubs or coming singly to these events, and it's a bit like the strongman events as well. Like, they're just amazing, friendly, really, really well run like events. I've loved being involved with the kettlebell sport world. It's been brilliant.
So how much of within your kind of, I mean, how many members do you have at Fitworks at your place at the moment?
We got about 135.
And how many of those? So and obviously not. We've spoke about this with a few people before who run places. Obviously, not all of those people will be interested in competing or getting involved, but it's kind of, do you find it's inspiring? Same with my gym. It's actually quite a small percentage of people who actually want to go and do like a kettlebell sport event or a high rocks or a London to Amsterdam cycle or run the London Marathon or something. But I think it really does help rub off on all of the members when they see members doing things like this. It's very inspiring, isn't it? Is that what you find at your place?
Yeah, it's exactly that. What's really lovely is that we can have like a strong man next to a new mum, next to a father and daughter, next to, just we have, it doesn't matter. everyone's in there for the community, and there's lots of different kinds of classes that they can choose. Ben and I are just about to launch something new, which is going to be Bars and Bells, which is all about strength training. It's his passion and my passion, so we're going to be starting like small group training here for that. But there really is something for everyone, and Pippa is huge on pre and postnatal. So we've got like, earlier on in here there was like babies and kids and mums, and it's just so lovely. And we do things like we do the lifestyle walks as well, go out walking, always have an event on. So we've got we've put it out there, who wants to do the Sahara Desert walk with Discover Adventure this year, and we just train together. But it's great. It is for everyone, basically.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, it's great. And where did you find out about get involved in? Because I know you're quite involved in Mace now as well. I mean, what happened? What was the genesis of that? How did that come about?
Where did that start? I've known Sean for years, and right back, God, I can't think how many years ago. Like, there's like that middle part of COVID, isn't there, in the middle, which is like these, I always forget how many years ago that was now. But Sean and I have known each other for years, and when he makes the most wonderful, he's just an incredible artist. Like, his stuff is mind-blowing. And so we've always swung mace together. It's always just been, us two swinging mace, and then gradually, sometimes we'll go a couple of months or even a year without seeing each other, but then we'll swing maces together. I went over to his workshop actually a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I really want to start some mace classes. So can I have a few of them? And then I was like, oh, actually, do you know what? Can I maybe potentially make them myself? So he was like, yeah, cool, Hannah, I'll do the welding bit, but you can come and do some work. So I went in there and made 8 of these maces with him and stuff. So yeah, this is a friendship thing, really. And then invite others along, and we're just trying to push. Mace is incredible. Mace movement is medicine for me. And mace is just an empowering tool as well. Like, I do a lot of the mace flow. And then this weekend at the kettlebell competition, Paul was saying, why don't we let's do a mace one to see. So I've got about myself and 3 other guys doing half an hour of pure 360s or 300s, and see how many reps we can get. And I know some of the guys are doing a flow competition with the mace as well. So it's just trying to get mace in more hands. And also, who cares? So many people go, oh my God, what is that weird thing you're doing now, Hannah? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. It's therapeutic for me. And if you put a mace in your hand, I bet you would love it too.
Yeah, we'll give Sean at Raw Form a bit of a shout out, because I've been over to his workshop a few times and picked up. I commissioned a few bits from him and been over and picked them up. And I think I met him first time around in lockdowns as well. We were both on holiday in Norfolk, and he put up that he was selling one of his hammers, and I sort of said, yeah, I'll have that off of you. And he was literally staying like in Norfolk, like half an hour from where I was. So we both met up when we were both on holiday, and we met up, and I got this hammer off of him, which was great. And I think we've got the title for this podcast, which you just said, which people do as they're talking. I think it's movement is medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really that's fantastic. Yeah, that sort of sums up everything. It's absolutely.
And also, you saying about how you were on holiday and you randomly got this hammer. Those are the things I love. Things happen for a reason, right? Like, yeah. I love it when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, because I think he said, oh, I'm in Buckinghamshire, and then I said, oh, I'm in Chelmsford in Essex. So I said, but I'm on holiday at the moment in Norfolk, and he went, so am I. He goes, like,
that hammer was made for you. It was made for you.
No, it was brilliant. It was really good. Oh,
He did very well out of that because he made you another 3 or 4 or something, didn't he? After that,
I've got 3 of them now. Yeah, I've got 3 of them at my place. Yeah, but no, that's brilliant. And then, like you say, then you meet, Mr. Mace Man came over from America, and we all met him, and it's just it's the way this works. And like you said, Ben, I presume you're talking about Ben Causa when you said
Yes.
the bars and bells, or the bells and bars. Whichever. Yeah. So everyone, it's all linked, isn't it? Everyone's kind of linked, which is fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on. I mean, it's been like always, don't we? We always say this, Pete, don't we? It's not you never have any idea where these conversations are going to go when you start them.
Well,
but...
it's quite funny because at the beginning, like we've said, we had you two had a good chat, and I just sat here and listened. I couldn't get a word in. But then we started talking about something. As soon as we hit record, it went off in a different direction.
Yeah.
But it's come back to that as well. So it's just I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it's great. I love it. I love what you guys are doing. It's brilliant.
Thank you so much. If people want to find out more about you, how did the Fitworks Training, that is the name of your that's your new facility where you're now, and you say you've only been there since August, did you say?
Yeah, so literally we've only had this building since August. So so you got Fitworks Training, and then on all the social media platforms.
And how did you, if you've got 135 people with you at the moment, you obviously you haven't just got those since August, you've obviously known people and people have come with you, or what's happened to build that client base?
So we had a business at the rugby club, which is in Beaconsfield as well, and we still do that. Our route and our core, we love training outdoors, so over at the rugby club is where I've got all my strongman kit, and we've got like the battle ropes and like kind of boot camp style stuff. So we will always have like that on the timetable. We've also got actually a license. This is a whole other thing, I won't go into it now, but I've got a franchise. Well, I've got a license of Fitworks Training in New Zealand and over in Chinner and Tame as well. So I'm hoping to branch out again one day, but you can't do everything at once. I'm going to build up this gym and this space first of all. And then I would love to have Fitworks Training as an outdoor kind of license as well, and to work with other trainers again, mentor them and help them through, education and learning. Like you said, it's not just as easy as like just setting up and training them. There's a lot more to it than that.
Oh God, yeah. So Fitworks Training, yeah. So that's
Fitworks Training, yeah. And then for my personal one, it's just Hannah Camden PT. So there's a couple of different areas to find me there.
Excellent. And something that's just come up while we've been talking, I watched a documentary that was recommended to me the other day by one of our members. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's called Small Town Strong. I don't know have either of you watched it before. It's free. Yeah. It's free to watch on Amazon Prime, and it's really, really. I watched it with Steph at the weekend, and it's this guy. He's a US military veteran who comes back from, comes out of the military, comes back to his hometown, and he's got this opioid crisis, in America. Lots of it's a small town in Ohio, and then lots of people are kind of having drug problems, and industries run down, all the rest of it. And he opens a gym in the small town, and it's called, the documentary, Small Town Strong, and he kind of turns things around, and it's really, really interesting. So that's well worth a watch, and it kind of ticks a lot of the boxes of the kind of things that we've been talking about today. So I'd really recommend people maybe check that out as well. But no, thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us. It's been, like I say, a really interesting, surprising, lovely conversation. So yeah, thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
And just before we wrap up, I mean, Pete, have you got anything you'd like to say as we start to close up?
No, I think that was great. Yeah. We've gone through a hell of a lot there.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I just think the whole stuff at the beginning about like, I'll say at the beginning for the first like 40 minutes, it just, all of that stuff is really important, because the stuff afterwards and the passion that Hannah's got for all of this stuff comes from that stuff. And then you find out what you want and who you are and all of that, and then everyone can be that way. So yeah, great.
Absolutely brilliant. Before we close, I just want to remind everybody that we do have Mr. Dan John and Mr. Tim Anderson from Original Strength coming over to Unique Results in Chelmsford in Essex on the 13th and 14th of April this year. So they're over for a whole weekend with us. There are I think there's about 3 places left. So you can go through the link tree on the Health Oddity Instagram, or we'll be sharing that again. No, lots of you are already coming, but there's about 3 places left if anyone wants to come along and spend a weekend with Dan John, Tim Anderson, and Mr. Peter Lant and myself.
I'll be knackered by then, because it's Easter, like we've been saying, it's Easter, and then we're in Belfast, and then it's the one after that. So yeah. So sorry if I'm in a bit of a bad mood by then.
You won't be in a bad mood by then. You'll be
like
high.
being busy.
You'll be loving it. You'll be loving it. You'll be rolling around on the floor with Tim, and
Great.
loaded carries out in the car park with Dan. You'll be fine. Right. Okay, guys. Thank you.
And I'll be able to use your solid non-wobbly pull-up bar.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. That has been episode 183. I don't think we've got a guest lined up yet for 184, but 185 will be Paul McElroy. We may have someone next week. We're always people are contacting us and we're contacting people, so we will see. Thank you very much. And do remember, if you leave a review over the next 7 days, I'm going to get all my timelines mixed up now, aren't I? If you leave a review after listening to this, we will see it and we will sort out some merch. We'll do that. Like I say, we'll give Pete a few weeks and me a few weeks to work out how we check what reviews we've got coming in, and we're going to start doing that merch giveaway for reviews left, because that helps us get out there a bit more. Yes, Pete.
That's what's really good about podcast land. You can say something, you don't have to do anything about it for about you can start working on it, and if it takes 3 weeks, you've got it done just in time.
Exactly. We've got 3 weeks before to get this to work. Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Okay, guys, thank you very much. We will see you next week for episode 184. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Lance.
Ta-ra.
And thank you from me. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com, or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.